Here come the chickies. It's that time of year people are getting chickens and having a brooder to start chickens in. We're thinking about either egg layer chickens for later in the summer. We're thinking about raising our own meat from some meat chickens. So welcome back to Twin Oaks Farm, and wanted to show you the start of a new meat chicken flock. So we've got them here in this brooder, and going to show you this brooder setup. You can really do a brooder setup in a large Rubbermaid tote or a large Rubbermaid water trawl, something like that. But we have a couple of pens in a couple of different buildings, and we usually, for ours, just make a brooder pen. So in this case, we're in about a 30 by 30 foot chicken barn, and we just come inside the barn and we build a brooder out of some scrap wood, some lumber that we have around. And so in this case, I'll put it down in the pen again with the camera so you can see the birds. But in this case, this little brooder was built for 100 Cornish Rock Cross meat birds. So we're doing this kind of like an 8-part series to show you how the meat birds grow over their grow out period. But we wanted to start off this series with showing you the brooder for the meat birds too. So if you're going to have a brooder for chickens, we're going to also take a walk up here to another brooder situation. But if you want to set up a brooder for chickens, basically you just need to have about 4 things covered. They need to have safety from predators, they need to have some kind of temperature control, they need to have water, and they need to have food. And so in addition to that, you also need to be able to keep the flooring clean and kind of control how much heat it's putting off. But basically those 4 things, protection from predators, the temperature control, the water, and the food. So I will show you in this brooder before we take a walk what we've got to cover those 4 things. So protection is that they're inside this barn, inside a building, and we can close all those doors up. There's carriage doors on each side of this barn, but then at the bottoms, we make sure that we don't have any gaps that predators can get into. For the temperature control, we're still using some heat lamps, so you can see how that's set up there. It's like a 250 watt bulb in that, and we have ours hanging because you need to get that temperature down here where these chicks are, close. Hi, buddy. Close to the floor. So then for water, we have little 1 gallon. You guys can see that. Chick waters for these guys. And actually when we first bring them home, that's the first thing that's in here, is the temperature control and the bedding and the water. And we let them settle in the pen for about 4 hours before we put feed down. And we just use these chick feeder trays. They actually come with tops, but we take the tops off because when our experience is when they're little tiny chicks like that, they just don't figure out to get their head stuck down into the chick feeder tray. So we get them started on feed better if we pull the top off of that and just put the tray down. And as far as feed, you want to start your birds off with about a 22% protein. We use a crumble, so you want to start them off with a high protein feed. Now we're taking a short walk to another little chicken barn where we've got 8 laying type birds. So little hens, little baby hens. Those are called pullets. So we've got, I think in there, I think it's black Australorp, 6 of those, 1 cream leg bar, and 1, we think, a chocolate Orpington. So this little barn is where we started growing meat chickens, and we've got some pullets on that far end of the barn that were hatched in November. So they should be laying eggs pretty soon. So, okay, so we'll turn this around. Here's another brooder setup. So this is actually inside a building, and we have them protected up here, and we just put up, these are actually our transport crates, and this is fine enough that chicks can't get through it to leave the pen. So we've got them protected, we've got water, we've got the temperature control with the heat lamp, and we've got their food over there. And so I know they're standing in it, and we have to keep that cleaned out, but they're figuring out how to eat from it. And I told you that when we first bring them home, the only thing down is the temperature control and the bedding and the water. And that's very important. And actually, when we first set them down in the pen, we dip their beak down in water so they know where it is. Not forcing them to drink, just letting them know where it is. So I'll pan back to the chicks and let you look at them. And so that other group was Cornish Rock Cross meat birds. And this little group is pullets that will be egg layers. So, hey, press subscribe on YouTube there on Twin Oaks Farm Poultry, and join us again. We'll have another video out in a few days.